60YO and older, what is your biggest should have done that differently in life? What's the better way? I asked my 88-year-old grandma this and she said to stop placing value on what other people think of you. Recognize this is your life and get on with it. Do the things you want to do. This is probably one of the hardest, yet most satisfying and liberating realizations you could have. I learned this fairly early and once I hit that realization I became so much happier. I used to have terrible self-esteem issues, chronic anxiety, and a terrible eating disorder. Getting hospitalized BC of said disorder and getting into therapy lifted such a big weight off my shoulders as I began to realize that nobody's opinion of me is worth it. It's not worth me being unhappy, unhealthy, or even slightly bothered. My biggest thought that helped me get over this is to realize that people don't care or notice as much as you think they do. When you see someone trip, do you think about it for the rest of the day and get stuck on how clumsy they are? No. So why would anyone notice if you're clumsy? If you see someone with slightly crooked teeth, do you notice? You probably don't even think about it. Nobody is hung up on any of the flaws you see in yourself. Nobody notices your teeth or your weight or your clothes, so why would you freak out about it? Pay yourself first no matter what. Don't do anything too much. Smoking, drinking, games, porn. Anything in excess will hold you back. Learn to honestly deal with your emotions. I've got everything in moderation, including moderation as a motto to live by. I will be 64 tomorrow, the 25th of July 2020. I wish I had saved for retirement. I guess you're about to find out if they'll still need you and still feed you. I'm 41 and I'm trying to make peace with the fact that I will never retire. I will work until I die. Or if I get to a point physically or mentally that I can no longer care or provide for myself, I'll opt out. I hope that I don't suffer from a slow cognitive decline that I don't recognize until I'm too far gone. Relax. This stuff isn't so serious. I'm 3/4 done with life. Probably 20 more to go. 10 good ones and then it will start to get rough. Don't chase after things. Be simple. Eat simple. Enjoy life. Stop being critical. Enjoy this brief time. I enjoyed this perspective. Thank you. I should have made better marriage choices. Don't marry too young. Or if you do, just be really sure that you have the same values and same goals. If one of you doesn't want kids, for instance, that should be a deal breaker. If one doesn't like sex or intimacy, huge deal breaker. If she is a jerk to your friends and family, get out of that relationship. If she is never wrong or will never admit it, get out. And stay out of credit card debt. Prenup. I've ridden that rodeo 3 times. They all left with fabulous parting gifts. Spoiler alert. I'm a woman. Don't think it just happens to men. Ladies. I asked my 74-year-old grandma and she said she should have had her husband wear a condom. My boyfriend's grandma routinely tells me about how she wishes she'd flushed and taken care of her first child. Thankfully my boyfriend's mom is her second child. It took me a long time to realize that most people only do and say all the things they say and do to benefit themselves and their family. I'm seeing it. But as a teen relying on others to show me the ways of the world, it's hard not to take what everyone says at face value. Too many lies. Too much conflicting information. I know to do research on what I'm told before trusting it, though. So there's that. I wish I'd gone to the emergency room that day in 1991 when I had terrible stomach pain. I was a single working mom and didn't have health insurance. And I was afraid of the bill. I've suffered and nearly died a few times because of that bad choice. Worse, my children suffered and still do because of it. I'm not 60 but my dad will turn 71 in September. Back in 2008 when I graduated, my dad says, "Son, it's never too early to invest your money." I didn't back in 2008 because, well, the market crashed. I regret that a lot. The Dow Jones has tripled in value since 2009. The same can be said about the COVID-19 pandemic. In 10 years time the market will triple its value back in March. Take advantage of that. 67 here. I've become a contrarian in many regards. Do the opposite of what the crowd does, and in many cases, not all, it works out. Also, take care of your effing ears. I loved loud music and pumped it into my ears through headphones for decades. Now I've got tinnitus. It's not awful, but I'm never going to experience pure silence again. Do not go to a competitive college right out of high school. Get your prereqs done at a community college. Trust me. Edit. Oh wow. My first gold. Thanks friend. Don't get married to someone just because they'll have sex with you. Or as my staff sergeant said, whatever you do, don't marry the first women to make you breakfast. Many people view kindness as weakness. Took me a long time to realize its strength. Be kind whenever possible. And it's always possible. Dalai Lama. This. I will try to be kind to people no matter what. However, it's feminine LBGRUC vet. I don't care. Being kind is one of the hardest things to do. Yet it is very rewarding to see people brood in anger while I'm smiling across the meadow. I wish it would stop being seen as weak to be kind. Choose your life partner wisely. Or don't choose one at all. Travel provides a better education than anything you can learn at school. Life is short. Pack as much into it as you can. Going the prescribed path isn't worth the stress of living an unexamined life. I'm friggin' 60. Dang it. Let me tell you. Yup, I would have made a better attempt at being patient with my goals. I was all over the place with jobs. Actor. Carpenter. Cabinet maker. Musician. Teacher. I still use my skills, but I wish I stuck out my carpenter apprenticeship when I was younger. I enjoyed the variety. Probably a bit ADD. However, if I got more experience and learned more when I was younger, I would have done better. I did score a career in the telephone biz for 22 years or so. Good to have benefits and a pension. My 74-year-old mom answered. When I was in grad school, a teaching position in photography opened up and I didn't take it. I thought, gee, I wonder what would have happened. I don't know what it is. I had opportunities here. I just didn't take that one. Out of all of the opportunities, that was one that was staying in my area and that one seemed far away. I should have looked at the opportunity differently and researched it out. Double quote. I'd have worked less when the kids were little. I routinely worked 55 hours a week and no, we didn't get overtime. I've had a very successful career, but you can't buy that time back with money. I was always trying to prove myself to my dad and took until mid-30s to realize this was my life. I've always worked more than I should, but when the kids were little I should have had different priorities. Wish my dad had have said, son, slow down and enjoy the ride. I've told my kids, only push that hard for you. Don't do it for anyone else and I'll love them no matter what. So far they are all doing well, but none are workaholics. Very grateful that stopped with me and I didn't pass it down. Also, the best way to love your kids is to love your spouse. One thing to be sure to do is take care of your body. It's easy to do things in your teens, 20s, and 30s that come back to bite you in the butt when you're in your 50s, 60s and 70s. Go to the dentist 3 times a year if you can. Do yoga twice a week. Don't smoke. Drink alcohol. Or do drugs. Eat vegetarian or vegan if you can swing it. Meditate. Take it easy on your joints, including things like running and other impact sports. Cartilage does not grow back. Watch out for getting too much sun. Time and money spent taking care of your body is very worthwhile. Honestly, I am now glad that I lived life fast and hard. I'm paying for it health-wise, but I had fun and I did more good than harm. The future doesn't look bright at this moment. I'm right there with you. As I sit here cataloging all the ways my body is failing me, I realize I'm one day closer to skidding sideways into heaven. Drink in one hand, smoke in the other, screaming, "Hoo-hoo, baby. What a ride." Double quote. I should have tried harder to keep my house. I lost it to foreclosure. I shouldn't have married my third husband. My advice? Don't marry a loser and work harder. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. But I want don't marry a loser and work harder on a t-shirt. Should have kept struggling with my small business instead of throwing in the towel and taking a 9-to-5 job with benefits. If someone other than yourself is signing your paycheck, you're way underpaid. If you have a choice, spend money on experiences, like traveling, instead of spending money on things to acquire. Likewise, if given the choice to experience something new or staying at home where it's safe, experience something new. If you go to college, don't follow your heart and study something that has absolutely little chance of making money. Take a look at what jobs are really in demand. Study something that is going to make you money, provide you with enough to raise your future family. I never dreamed of being a male nurse. But hey, it paid off immediately after graduating with great pay. It pays for the house, cars, wife and the kids, with a couple of nice vacations each year. I say this because I have relatives who studied things that were so goofy and niche that they couldn't find jobs after graduating, even before the pandemic. My dad's advice to me: only believe half of what you see and nothing that you hear. Double quote. Listen to people. Don't just hear what they say. Double quote. Tell the truth. It's easier to remember what you said. Double quote. And X200B. My great grandmother, RIP. A shot of whiskey at night is good for the soul. Any more than that and you are dancing with the devil. Double quote. My grandmother, RIP. Just because it looks good doesn't mean you want it. Double quote. And X200B. My great grandmother, RIP. A shot of whiskey at night is good for the soul. Any more than that and you are dancing with the devil. My grandmother, RIP. Just because it looks good doesn't mean you want it. It's your life. Live the life you actually want, not the one you think you are supposed to. Try to be happy in the moment rather than focusing on the future too much. Good choices usually lead to more good choices. Try to make those, Have the courage to question what you aren't allowed to question. Question the unstated assumptions I inherited from my family. Asked my mom. Here's her advice: stop getting married so young. Live your dreams because it's harder once you're married and have a family. You're dumb through your 20s. 30 and up is marriage time. And if you don't like children, don't have them. The world is messed up enough already. Paul Anka wrote the words and music. Frank Sinatra sang it the best. This one verse is the most important. Regrets. I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, but much more than this, I did it my way. I'm hoping in 6 hours time this thread will be full of advice on how to avoid missed opportunities. One of my teachers in high school said this when she retired: always make decisions for yourself. What would be best for you? Choosing things according to friends, relationship and family will cost you opportunities and you will have regrets. They may support you for a while at your low, but if your entire life becomes a mess they won't be able to help you. This is the biggest regret of my mom, who's actually only 50. But basically, my dad has his master's in IT and is a computer scientist. So throughout my sister's childhood and most of mine, he was the main person who brought in money. But my mom was unhappy for almost my entire life, so she divorced him when I was 14. But because she always relied on him for money, and her degree was in Europe so it didn't matter, she only got an associate's here when I was 6. And money has been tight for my mom because of that. For 5 years now. So I'd say never rely on anyone else for money. Cause no matter how happy you are with them, there's no guarantee it'll never end. And if it does, you could end up screwed. My mom is a medical doctor and has been with probably 100 people on their deathbeds throughout the years. She told me what always shocked her was how similar every person's regrets were. People always wish they'd had one more kid, been a better Houston wife, or been a better parent-child. At the end of the day, focus on family. It is one of the few things that will truly remember you when you're gone. My grandpa should have left his investments alone. He could have made much more money. Granted, his work still made him hella bank. But his sister left her investments alone and just lived off the revenue and ended up wealthier. Go to the dentist at least once a year. Do some sort of exercise a few times a week. Just walking is enough. Quit Facebook. 30 years from now you can tell Redditors what you would have done differently. I wish I had been kinder to my husband. We bickered about small things that really weren't important. I wish I could tell him how sorry I am. I should have bought Tesla when it hit $388 in March. The best advice I could give a younger person is to learn to be flexible. I had this idea that being older meant things would slow down and life would be more calm and predictable. Wrong. The chaos of life never stops, and when you're older you can't even take your existence for granted. The older people I know that struggle the most are stubborn. They can't roll with the punches and their world becomes small and depressing. I try not to think about regret. Really. Don't really see the point of regret, unless perhaps you have a time machine and you want to go back and fix something. In which case I must report you to T immediately. I'm certainly old enough now to appreciate where I am and the things that got me here. And I would never want that to change. My dad is 77 and a recovered alcoholic. Pretty sure his biggest life advice would be don't drink, haha. Everything he regretted about how he did things. Or what he learned. He's been intense about trying to pass on. The biggest was get a credit card as soon as possible. And pay it off in full every month for good credit. Then there are the things he did right. According to him. Which he tries to push on me. Nah. I'm good. Not everything is universal. Worry less about everything. Work less and spend more time with your family and friends. Memories and experiences are more valuable than things or status. I would have spent more time engaging with my children. I was kind of distant. Now they are kind of distant with me. Cats in the cradle plays softly. I'm 62. Do what you want and don't worry about what others think. You want to try that new restaurant but have no one to go with? Go alone and enjoy yourself. Overweight but not swimming because of how you look in a swimsuit. Who cares? Swim your heart out. Mouthing hymns in church because you sing off key? Sing loud and make a joyful noise. But most importantly, be kind. Regardless of how anyone treats you or what anyone says. Be kind. You can walk away, disagree, and or not respect someone who doesn't deserve it. But do it kindly. Be argumentative or getting butthurt or cursing and yelling only serves to make you feel worse later. But, if I'd done things differently, I wouldn't be where I am today. Sure, I've got scars. But I've got some cool ink. Too. Sure, if I'd finished college, I'd have taken a very different career path and quite possibly would have made more bank. But Cake Day is a week away. I just celebrated 12 years of happily ever after with my best friend. Lockdown has been a breeze because read that last part again. And 67 doesn't confront me at all. Make some time to do the things that make you happy. Nobody goes to their grave wishing they had spent more time at work. The only thing I can think of is I married for all the wrong reasons and wound up marrying too many times. If I had only been patient. Yes. I might not have my sons or grandchildren. Yes. I would have been in my late 40s when I finally married. But I wouldn't have had all the heartache. All the stress. Etc. I would have had my soulmate from day one. Never look back. The person you are today is the product of all of your life's experiences. Unless you're a complete asshole and not okay with that. Just let it ride. I would have focused less on how I thought others perceived me. At almost 65. I no longer give a shit. I have my friends and family, that's all who really matter. Other than that, I would have done nothing different. Because my life today would not be what it is like Bradbury's butterfly effect. Close bracket. 59. And pretty much no regrets. I've had a legendary time that's still going on. However, I wish I would have learned to ask for what I wanted sooner. In addition, if somebody tells you they can get you into the fire department, take them up on it. I'm 61. Still got all the self-esteem issues going on that I had when I was a teenager. I'm writing this and I realize how fking stupid I've been now that my life is destined to end sooner rather than later. So that's it. I should have stopped giving a FCK about how I appeared to others a long time ago. I would have taken better care of my teeth. Crowns, implants and fillings, even with insurance, are hella expensive. My kids had sealants and have beautiful teeth. Sigh. I asked my parents. They're both 60. Their top ones are: don't start smoking. Take care of your teeth. Brush and floss. Exercise. Don't spend more than you can afford and be very careful with credit and debt. It's much harder to undo 40+ years of crap than it is to avoid in the first place. Thanks. I'm actually done raising them up close, they are college aged. Just bought a new house. Moved to Frederick MD from overcrowded expensive Nova. Newly single. New lease on life. So fun. I am a couple of months away from 68 years old. While I definitely agree that not giving a shit about what other people think of you is important, I am of a more practical mind. I wish that I had invested in myself more, put a little more aside for the future, and took more chances on myself. I think I played safe way too much. I guess I wasted time and money on things that weren't important things, and avoided testing myself for fear of failure. I will never retire. I can't afford it and I am just learning that sitting back and doing nothing is tedious. Do what you can. If you can't, but you want to, learn how to. You are not done until you're dead.